Carlos Nelson with the Kansas City Business Association, and we have not the newest member, but we have a member that had paid his dues and everything for the last month and a half, and was just able to break free to come and do his interview. And who do we have here?
My name's Elliot Threatt.
All right, Elliot, give a rundown of exactly what businesses that you affiliated with, and tell us a little bit about your history, because I knew your dad pretty well and followed your career as a comedian.
There you go. Well, actually, my name's Elliot Threatt, and I grew up here in Kansas City. My father, James I. Threatt, was assistant city manager here in Kansas City for about 25 years. Before that, he actually ran Model City, so we had a long history here, and grew up right here. Went to Southwest High School right around the last year graduation. I started in stand-up comedy. I was a stand-up comedy comedian for about 20 years, and then as I moved back from LA,
where'd you practice at?
Stanford and Sons. That's where I got started, at the old Treehouse on Westport Road. And after comedy, I kind of realized that I don't mind not being famous. I just like to work for myself, as you do. And I got into business. Did a bunch of cruise ships and opened up a GNC store, and I had...
Where was your GNC? So our community here...
Yeah, my GNC store, were the ones I owned were on Brookside and on Westport. The Westport one is still open. The Brookside one is something else now. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I got into the airport concessions business at KCI right around 15, 16 years ago, and I've been doing that ever since. And I've gone from KCI to some other airports, Dallas, Minneapolis, Newark, Madison, and Cedar Rapids.
So how's this virus affected your business?
It's devastating. It's taken it down about 90%, 95%. Now that was the valley there. I think we're kind of playing a little bit of offense, not defense now, as everything starts to come back. The one good thing about Kansas City is that we're kind of a hub city in the fact that the airports are doing really bad. Like in LA, you have Burbank Airport. Well, there's two airports right next to each other. You only need one, right? Mm-hmm. So in Kansas City, we're kind of well off. Like St. Louis, if you're the only airport in a 4-hour area, you're going to be okay. So that's future looking up for KCI.
Oh, excellent. So tell our audience a little more about your business acumen. As I have said to you in the past, I think you and I don't know a whole lot about your business, but I've been in business all my life, and just to survive in business, being a minority is a wonder in itself, from my perspective.
It is very hard, and a lot of trial and error, and I've had businesses that haven't succeeded, but you learn from all your failures. They say failing in business is like a 4-year business degree, because you learn everything you do wrong, and you don't do that the other time. So you just learn from your mistakes and move on.
What kind of advice would you have for young entrepreneurs? Because once upon a time we were young.
That's true. My advice is, it's pretty generic, actually. Just go for it. There's nobody to say what you are going to do isn't going to work, and that's the one thing that I've realized. All these people have these crazy ideas, and I find out people in Gen X are making all this money from something I never thought they could monetize, right? Never thought they could sell earrings online or resell shoes, all this stuff that I just marked off that they have an insight. So as long as you have a passion, you think you know what you're doing, then you'll be okay.
How important is, in your business and in business in general, to be up to date with technology?
It's very important. It's very important social media-wise, actually. I think you can get over that, but in the entertainment business, it's uber important, and just in the way you transact things. Like now in the airports, we're trying to do everything touchless, right? So not even the credit cards. We're trying to scale up technology where you just run your credit card by, right? We're trying to take temperatures of everybody. So the airport is an industry where we're trying to get ahead of it, and just use as much technology as possible. Pre-order, limit the transactions.
And that's the way of the future. As we say, the Kansas City Business Association and all things that are associated with the Cascade Media Group, we're the wave of the future. And it's very hard for most of our older clients to adjust to that. How have you been able to?
Well, it is kind of humbling because, I was a stand-up comedian. I still do comedy for better part of 40 years, and I had stuff on YouTube and everything like that, old TV shows. And, one of my daughter's friends just does something on YouTube, and it gets, 100,000 hits, more hits than I had the entirety of my comedy career, and she got more views in a little over a week or 4 days, you know what I mean? Just so it's always important, and one important thing to know is that it's out there forever. And one thing I tell entertainers and business people, don't go out there until you're ready. You have to have it locked down in the pocket, because once it's out there, you can't pull it back. Once you put a bad stand-up comedy thing out there, you can't pull it back. It's out there forever.
Boy.
So back when I was a comedian, taping was a big deal. You did a TV show was a big deal. We didn't have access to all the media. Now you can tape yourself all the time, but you do something you think might be funny now, and then 5 years ago you're at a job interview and here's a picture of you in a bathtub telling a joke. Maybe not such a good idea. So think it out before you put it out.
What do you have? Give me some of your philosophies real quick on education.
Education is very important. I was spent 4 years on the Grandview School Board, and my mom was on the library board and everything like that. And I just think the earlier the better. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, the earlier the better. And I'm a big advocate of the new airport here, getting child care there, because it's so important. And you can't have employment without child care.
All right. See, that over my head there.
Well, the point is the airport's so far away for people to have child care that work at the airport, especially in the inner city. It's you have to get up at 4 a.m. So it's a whole thing. So one of the things I was hoping for when we get the new airport is to have a daycare out there for the employees to use, because.
And who would be is that who's using a sports term? Where does whose court does the ball fall in?
Well, that would be the ball part of the aviation department, but they would put out a bid. And when I work in all these other airports, I see that they have daycare in these larger airports.
Because when I think off camera, I was talking to you about we just did the mayor.
Yes.
And so when I do him again next week,
ask him.
Exactamundo. I'm going to be saying.
The people in the Edgemoor said they were going to provide daycare for the employees that are working on the airport right now, and it's like, well, why just them, right? I mean, if you build that infrastructure, let them use it from this point on. Because
that is, I was talking to you about like my adopted daughter earlier, and she's got a 2-3 month old, and I'm like, you just don't understand how much child care is going to.
No, it is
for you to go to work.
Yeah. And in these other airports, they subsidize it, and it's not just the concession employees, the people I work with. It's the TSA, it's the rental car people. There's a whole industry out there, and there's no daycare. And if you could have it on the premises, and at first they were very nice, and they talked to me. They said we don't have green space, you can't put it in the airport. But as you construct a new place, the aviation department owns a lot of buildings out there. I should be getting out of my skis because I'm trying to put them in the corner. But I think they should try to do something, because it's going to be.
It only makes sense.
Yeah. There's gonna be daycare at all the airports in the next 20 years. So the point is, do we do it now, or do we wait and do it now? Doing it now when you're building an airport is the best time to build that in.
Staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
What are some other things, since you've been out there, that you feel that could be beneficial to the Kansas City overall community and this airport endeavor?
Well, I think that we should have more local brands. I think as they do it, I mean, it's a taste is a sense of place, and you learn culture through the restaurants in the town. So I think all the Kansas City airport should be represented at the airport. Basically, there shouldn't be the Chili's, the Applebee's, and everything like that. Not when we have lots of local businesses here. Not when we have Ruby Jeans and Gates and the Peachtree and the Well and all these other little places.
You pulling Ruby Jeans out. That we're doing some things with UMKC and working with Dr. Martin, and they are partnering with Ruby Jeans. They've got big signage and everything in the gym and what have you. And I think that's what Kansas City should demand more so. You're in our city. City has a lot of heritage, has a lot of good businesses, and they should almost have first shot at anything that's going on.
They should. They should, and they kind of come with the airport because he's doing something nobody else does. But another thing I think we should have in the airport, and as I look around your office, is music. You know, in the Minneapolis airport, I have the music venue because that's where Prince and the Minneapolis Funk and Bob Dylan and all that other guys. So they have airport in the Minneapolis airport, Austin and Nashville. But then you have this city with all this jazz heritage, and I think something like that should be out there too. You know, people don't know, right? If you don't know.
You definitely don't, because
and you can actually fly into Kansas City and not even know about that. So you got to catch them on the way out to let them know. So the next time when they come in town, then they'll go down to 18th and Vine.
Because coming from New York, I had no idea the history of jazz in the city. Because all I know is the Village Gate and the Tin Palace, and I thought everything originated in New York. I come out here and learn about 18th and Vine, and learn about all the great jazz musicians that have played here and still are putting out good musicians. And if you go to the airport and you come through, you might not even know that. Or the sports history of the Monarchs.
Exactly.
And so forth.
Exactly. It's all about, and you mentioned Chris Good, the Negro League Museum. These are also people that should be represented. Right. There's a lot of things, and you can't be that neighborhood specific, but there's a lot of good things. This is what people ask about. So, I mean, Nelson Art Gallery is beautiful and everything like that, and I love the croquet, the things, but I don't think people ask about that as much as they ask about the Negro League and,
right.
and 18th and Vine. And
I just, sad to say, I just read something this morning saying that they weren't going to be putting no money down on 18th and Vine.
I have a whole lot of, I think that should be like a tax-free zone, and just try to, just kind of guerrilla merchant and, kind of like
guerrilla marketing.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of just let it kind of thrive on its own, and then let people do it. I don't know. They've put a lot of money, but if everybody was on percentage rent down there, and I don't know if they are or not, No,
I used to have 7 offices down there, but
are you on percentage rent?
I could go with anything but what I was going with after the new ownership, but especially a small black business. If you're paying all your money in rent, you don't have no chance to reinvest in your business and do some of the things that you definitely have to do nowadays.
Well, it's not just on 18th and Vine. It's not just restaurants. I mean, it's a lot of food desert down around that area, and you have all those people live downtown. So if you have a lot of brick and mortar stuff, I mean, why don't they have a Walgreens down there and all this other sort of stuff?
Hey, hold it. I wanted to say your guess is good as mine, but we don't have to guess on none of that, and we don't have to really speak on a lot of that, because I think the audience knows why we don't have these things in our
community. I mean, they shouldn't have to go out to Ward Parkway to buy soap and underwear, right? That's the way it goes. Or the sad excuse for food that all those Family Dollars, I shouldn't even say that.
Right. But I'm saying that is what, to me, the upheaval is. It's not that Floyd was murdered, because I think most people that are halfway woke know that this stuff's been going on for a long time. It's more what is taking consciousness on the globe, as far as I'm concerned, that people have finally woke up. It's about the haves and the have-nots. Mm-hmm. And it's about justice. And justice is not being equally applied, no matter whether it's the United States or it's Venezuela or it's the African continent.
And that's where social media and having that on your phone is empowering, right? It's empowering as long as you have a witness, as long as you have an interested third party to kind of look over you, to have your back. I think that's the best thing about all that.
Yeah, and that's making change, and that change makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable.
It does, but that too shall pass, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Well, is there any parting words that you would like to tell our audience and the people that use your business when they're out at the airport?
Well, all I can say about, well, first of all, I have the news and gift shops at the airport, and we do our best to support all local businesses. As much as I like to support them all, I can only sell what people are willing to buy. That's why I have James Lemonade out there, Gates' Sauce, we have Tasty Thai. I hate to think of it
What's
just
Tasty Thai?
Tasty Thai is a wonderful Thai restaurant in North Kansas City.
Oh, all right,
run by
all right,
Alyssa. Yeah.
all right.
And it's a hot sauce, and
All
people
right,
like
right,
hot
right,
sauce
right,
and everything
right,
like
right.
that. And I'm trying to work with Mr. Watts to get some jazz shot glasses out there. So we're trying to get things that people sell. I mean, as much as I'd like to sell other things, there's a certain area, but my job as owning is to give everybody a shot. I've given a lot of people shots, and we don't move through their inventory. But one of our biggest success stories is IMKC.
Right.
And we have.
I was just down there.
We had a
the
pop-up
Papa.
store, yeah, and he has a whole section at our airport, a whole section of wonderful stuff. He did a great airport design. I even had him out there rapping. Right.
I think I seen that.
Yeah.
Bob Kendricks was out there too.
Wonderful Bob Kendricks came out there, and it was just great.
Well, I can say this. You joined the Kansas City Business Association, gave us a shot, and we appreciate you for that. And so with our audience, as we close on all our programs, our saying is, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Good night.